In today's video discussion, I would like to talk about Taurus and Scorpio. And this can be helpful for those of you who have either your north or south node in Taurus or Scorpio. So Taurus and Scorpio are two sides of one coin, I like to say. If we look on the zodiac wheel, we see Taurus, and then directly across from Taurus is Scorpio, and directly across from Scorpio is Taurus. So Taurus is an earth sign. Taurus is a part of the first 6 zodiacs that represent the south. Okay? And the later 6 zodiacs in the zodiac wheel, so we have 12 zodiacs, represent others, our relationship to others. So we have this mastery of relating to ourselves, which is Aries, Taurus, Gemini, so on. And then we have the relationship with others, which Scorpio is in, the later zodiac signs. So Taurus is using our natural talents and gifts to make a living for ourselves. So Taurus in the higher octave is using the natural talents, okay, such as talents of creativity, because remember, we have Aries. Aries is beside Taurus, and Aries is kind of like lesson 1 on being creative, letting the creative flow guide you, being enthusiastic. Now Taurus takes that lesson of the Aries and uses it to make a practical life, make a living. So Taurus uses the understanding of creativity and also the understanding of being a primal being, okay? We have the senses, and uses the senses to help them navigate themselves in a way that they can use that cosmic creative force of that Aries, but in a very practical way, a very secure way. So we get into this flaming fire that's just all over the place, and it's like placing that fire into a candle. And what that candle does is it provides security, it provides shelter, it moves that flame into a more concise, practical movement that is more consistent, predictable, and reliable in its consistency, okay? So that's very much the Taurus energy. Taurus takes that flaming fire of Aries and gives it structure, gives it discipline. Now Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is all about beauty and fulfillment. So with the Taurus pathway towards better understanding the self, okay, like the first 6 zodiacs represent how to master the self. Taurus is learning how to master the self in the talents and gifts, the creative expression, and condensing it into a practical manner where it can be relatable, it can be consistent, dependable, reliable, creating not necessarily institution, but overall security with that, okay? Security that leads to wealth and legacy of wealth, okay? So Taurus individuals focus a lot on business, okay, the business side, because we have creativity, but if we have no business mindset, creativity is just all over the place, okay? So it's also, since we have Taurus and Scorpio, okay, they're like the two sides of the same coin. Scorpio is the soul. It's very intense. The soul. That's Scorpio. Scorpio is in the later 6 zodiacs that represents relationship to others. And Scorpio particularly is about relating to the person's soul. So we have other zodiacs that can be relating to the person's relating to the person's emotions, relating to the person's intelligence, relating to a person's sensuality, but this is relating to the person's soul. Okay, so with this unique, I like to say this unique line of energy with Taurus and Scorpio, we have the Scorpio and the Pluto, which is the soul. Pluto is very transformative. It represents the evolutionary necessity of the soul in this particular lifetime. So how Taurus gets its natural talents and gifts, okay? So in order to create an entrepreneurship or a business, you need talents and gifts in this Taurus energy, okay? And Taurus also rules the throat chakra. The throat chakra, which represents, could be singing abilities. Not only singing abilities, but abilities to express yourself. So Aries is this flaming fire, and Taurus is learning how to express oneself in a very grounded way where people can understand. Okay, not necessarily a Gemini understanding as in a super intellectual conversation. It's more so just relatable. Okay. So with the Scorpio is how the Taurus gets the talents and gifts, because Scorpio represents the soul. So Taurus has this connection to Scorpio in this line of energy to be able to channel their soul into their talents and gifts, whatever that may be, their unique form of expression that creates a business that is able to form a legacy. And anything of a legacy is you're leading people into a more consistent, secure, and as well as sustainable life. And what is that? Sustainable life is always a lifestyle that is health, radiance, vitality, okay? And that's very much the Taurus of the talents and gifts. That's what the legacy is the radiance, the vitality behind it. If a business does not have that, a lot of times a business is not adaptable because there's not the energy or the charisma to be adaptable, and therefore the business kind of just slowly kind of plateaus. Okay? So with the shadow side of both of the Scorpio and the Taurus, is that when Scorpio is not listening to the soul, okay, meaning distrust of the soul, that can lead to with this line of energy, the Taurus and Scorpio, it can lead to, they're like polarities, energies. It can lead to vanity. It can lead to obsession with power. Okay, and deep resistance within the Scorpio energy, meaning stagnancy. Okay, the whole stuck in the rut, you are just sticking with your guns, sticking with what is comfortable, sticking with what worked, and that's how the Scorpio loses its vitality, and therefore the business of the Taurus, it loses its sustainability, because what keeps a business running is energy, and energy is health. Health is energy. Good health is energy. Okay? So we start to see the accumulation. This is the shadow side. Accumulation of wealth. It's not circulating because there's no energy. There's no charisma. There's no innovation because there's no vitality. And vitality is inspiration, is creativity. It's to keep it circulating, to keep it moving, the money. Okay? So we get into this accumulation. We get into this vanity, this obsession with power. And what that does is it creates this overall stagnancy, okay? And that is resistance. So how to remedy this resistance is to embrace the soul. The Pluto is the soul. Okay, and the soul, the evolutionary necessity of the Pluto, it can be a wake-up call for those of individuals who are very stubborn, and that's the Taurus, very stubborn. Okay, and the Scorpio is very resistant. So it's interesting, and they are very much kind of like a tag team, either in the shadow or either in the higher octave. They can be a tag team. So the stubbornness of Taurus is, it could be a loss of vision when it comes to your business, meaning you've concised it down so much in the business of it. You put it into its little parts, but maybe the vision, you've lost sight of the vision. And that's like the Aries. The Aries has the vision, but doesn't have the ability to put the things in its parts and to be able to put all the parts together in a way that people can understand and that you can understand. Okay, to keep it going, to keep it dependable, keep it reliable, keep it consistent, keep it sustainable for the people and the legacy of that creative idea, of that living lifestyle. So when we lose that vision of the natural talents and gifts, that's that Pluto energy, the soul. When we lose that vision, that's when we just run this business, but it becomes more of, we get into the stubbornness of it, because we don't have the vision within our thinking or within our life or our lifestyle as this Taurus energy to be able to think of new ways to revamp this business. We can't think of that because we've gotten so comfortable into this worked and this worked, and I'm just going to keep doing it again. So that's the adaptability the Gemini learns. So it's interesting, you go through these steps, like step 1, Aries, you got step 2, we have Taurus, and then we have step 3, we have Gemini. And Gemini is all about agility and adaptability of thinking. So Taurus is an earth sign and Gemini is an air sign. So air sign is about changeability, like the air, it changes all the time. It changes all the time. So when Taurus enters lesson 3, Gemini, that's when Taurus begins to learn how to have agility, adaptability of thinking, so you can always revamp. So if your business, what you've created as your security, let's say it gets kind of stale, it gets kind of dull, it gets kind of stagnant because you're doing the same thing again and again and again and again and again. Gemini is like, let's go have experiences. Okay, so we can challenge our thinking, and through these experiences we can change our perceptions, we can change our perspectives, and that's how we revamp our vitality. Vitality is changeability, it's charisma, and charisma, enthusiasm is what the Taurus energy with the Aries and the Gemini, these two backings, can pull from to better create a business that isn't stale, stagnant, but one that is progressing with the evolution of the era or age that business is in. If that business is not progressing or evolving with the people and the populace and the change of the culture, the ideology, sociology, then that business becomes a legacy that most likely will just plateau eventually. So that's the Gemini thinking, and that's the Aries thinking, the visionary of the Aries, as well as the changeability and adaptability of thinking within the Gemini. So with the Scorpio line, okay, again, it's across the zodiac, the whole wheel, Aries to Pisces, and again, two sides of the same coin. Okay, they're very much like polarities, but they are representing kind of the same energy, but just in a different expression. Like one represents the self, focusing on the self, and one represents focusing on others. So Scorpio is all about partnership. So Taurus is about, again, the self. So working on creating a business that focuses on one's own talents and gifts. Okay? But it also is inclusion. So we're including other people in the Taurus energy, because in order to have a business, you have to have people. So Aries is very, I'm going to do it all I'm going to be this independent, creative flow and just be super dynamic and super expansive. And Taurus is very much, let's get it into its concise data points so that we can be able to strategize in a way that creates a security and the longevity. Okay, but with Taurus, when Taurus is maybe not accessing the Scorpio energy, for example, Taurus is very much, I'm going to manage it all. Okay, I'm just going to manage it all because I don't know necessarily, I'm not mature enough to be able to express in my throat chakra exactly what I need from the people that I'm working with in my business. I don't know how to express it in words that can get what I want and need. So that's when we get into Gemini, learning about how to express yourselves in a way where you are expressing a response to a conversation in a way that is very much clear, very clear to what you mean. But Taurus is very earthy, so they know how to manifest the natural talents and gifts, but they don't know how to express to other people very clearly what I need and want, and what I don't want and what I don't need. So working with the Gemini energy can help that Taurus to be able to not carry the whole load of the business, but to be able to clearly communicate themselves in a way that people can, okay, yes, I understand exactly what you need and want. And that's also how you can get a business that is expanding and growing rather than just you and yourself and I, that there's no leaps and bounds and growth. So with the Scorpio is going to be about partnership. So that's when we get into relating to others. So the success of the Scorpio energy, again, with business, particularly because, again, they're kind of tag team, it's going to be through partnership. It's going to be learning how to share. So Taurus can get, so this is mine, because it's about the self. So this is mine, and that's your responsibility. This is my responsibility. That's your responsibility. And there's a very clear line that this is mine and that's yours responsibility. Okay, so it's all about being a responsible human being. Aries is about being a creative human being. Taurus is about being a responsible human being. And then Gemini is about being a very intellectual being. Okay? And then Scorpio is very much about being a soulful being. So soulful with the Pluto is being able to receive yourself as you truly are. And if you don't feel like you can, it's creating an environment in which you can receive yourself and your soul, as well as people can share their soul with you, their deeper self. So that's kind of the mission of the Scorpio, is creating an environment where you can feel like you can dive into your soul, but also other people, they can dive into their soul, and you can share with each other and not have all of these distrusting obstructions that create these barriers and walls. Because Scorpio wants to connect in a very deep way, like a soulmate way or a twin flame way. And the thing is, when there's all of these obstructions around them, such as they've been in a lot of environments, either from childhood, either work or either school or just out and about, that have been very much about like defense, like people are hostile or people are just neurotic and they're neurosis and they're just not calm, they're not gentle, they're not soulful. What can happen is Scorpio can get this distrust with being their soul. Meaning, let's say they're really deep, but then somebody rejects them. Or they're very deep and soulful, and then that person maybe manipulates or takes advantage. So what happens is Scorpio can take on the obstructions and begin to actually live them. So meaning whatever they've picked up or absorbed from their environments, they become. So they felt soulful, they felt rejected, so now they reject people, and for them being unique or special or soulful. Okay, they felt manipulated by their innocence for being soulful and just being very deep and their secrets, and somebody, took advantage, whatever. Now they take advantage of other people. So that's the Scorpio energy. It's kind of like they absorb that environment and they kind of spit it back out. So with the remedy of the Scorpio is again, it's also about no. Scorpio, I mean, we see a lot of experience, go out there and have fun. But it's saying no to the thing that makes your soul feel trapped. That's because in order to have experiences, you have to have a free soul, okay? And that's where you get into the yes. If you have a free soul, meaning you're not taking everything so seriously, you're more playing with the environments and let's say the neurotic people that are very manipulative or dark or whatnot, whatever, you are able to transform. And that's Pluto. You want to transform. You don't want to be a soul that's just like trapped in this fear state where you're just have all of this guarding around you and you don't trust anybody. That's the shadow side of Scorpio. But the remedy of that is saying no to whatever fear is trapping your soul from being expressed and going out there and having new experiences that challenge your soul to shine through. Okay? So with the Scorpio and the Taurus, it's very uncomfortable because, like I said, Taurus is about being comfortable. It's about the status quo. It's like the basics on life, the basic living a life, making your money and your lifestyle healthy, happy, holy. Okay? It's status quo. Well, Scorpio is about like the journey of conquering the demons. It's deep stuff. So we're taking the status quo, which is very much, let's be comfortable, let's be a homebody, and let's create a beautiful life of a garden and flowers, and I have my job working with kids, and I get my kids organized, and, you know, I help them like I'm running a business, and I get the kids all structured in their daily activity and daily education. And then we get to the Scorpio, which is like, let's conquer that inner demon that's restraining my soul. Okay? So we're jumping from a comfy, cozy to all of a sudden we have to. It is a must to be able to conquer that fear that is having me not listen to my soul or having me reject my soul or other people's soul or just not even a care for being soulful. Okay, so that is, the Taurus is responsible, but the Scorpio is about sharing of experiences with each other and letting people, you know, because Scorpio is the later side of the zodiac, so by then we've been through a lot. And Scorpio has this gift of being able to relate and comfort and support those who have been through a lot. Because the reason Scorpio, the path is about conquering the demons, because it's like the longer you've been alive, the more incarnations you've had, the more stuff you've went through. Okay, and it's not about let's be fake with each other. It's let's be real with each other because I accept you and I'm learning to accept myself. That's the message of the Scorpio. Okay, and the higher octave, once Scorpio is decided to get out of what is restraining the soul from actually experiencing what it truly wants, which is partnership. Partnership is two individuals, soulful individuals for Scorpio, that are working together to create a security, a legacy with the Taurus energy that is about creating environments in which people can share their souls, can share their growth, and can evolve together. Okay? That could be through music, that could be through, writing. It's so many things. Okay? It doesn't have to be esoteric teachings. It could be being a teacher or a partnership. Nothing, way out there and, like talking about aliens or whatever. Okay? So I wanted to discuss this placement, the Taurus and the Scorpio, because I feel like it's very relevant on the planet right now, because I feel a lot of us have this Venus and Scorpio. We have this Venus and Scorpio taking place right now. We have the Pluto and Scorpio. And Pluto and Scorpio is all about, let's clear away the obstructions that have us basically, manipulating because we've been manipulated or felt that way. And it's becoming soulful. It's conquering those demons that have us manipulating or feeling manipulated, and rise out of that. Like the Scorpio is like the phoenix rising out of the ashes, where you're very soulful and you are able to continue to be that regardless of who is throwing knives at you, because that's a Scorpio. It's like you've been through a lot, but that makes you very, it makes you deep, because you've been through a lot. Those who have not had been through nothing, very shallow, meaning they have still far to go. Because the whole point of this life experience, when we travel through Aries all the way to Pisces, is to get to that totality of experience where we're very extremely dynamic in unconditional love. Unconditional love. And that's our bliss. That's our joy. Unconditional love in this death, acceptance of death, unconditional life in the acceptance of people and their weird, funky stuff. Also unconditional love for ourselves and what we've done and what in our desperate times of need. That is the overall totality of Aries and Pisces, all of the signs just coming together in one heartbeat. Unconditional love. And Scorpio is very much facilitating the human as it goes through the journey of helping the human to be able to conquer those demons, particularly as Pluto in Scorpio in the astrological chart, to help them be able to begin to not feel tainted. Okay, it's like you kind of feel like, oh, you know, I'm starting to feel really tainted. I'm starting to feel jaded. I'm starting to feel like obstructions. I'm just so distorted. And what is my soul? I just feel like I'm a collection of just junk stuff and thinking and junk behaviors and junk psyche and junk sexuality. It's Scorpio is very much about a deep purification. Like the phoenix and the fire, you got to burn away all of that obstructions. And that is stepping outside of your comfort zone and diving deep into your soul so you can rise of who you are, not a collection of junky, psyche, messy stuff. So that the higher octave of the Scorpio, once it's traveled through its own personal journey within that the Scorpio, is getting to a partnership of the soul, which is like a soul union. And discovering through that soul union with your intimate partner, discovering like the ecstasy of literally being your soul 100%, and the ecstasy of breaking through all of the stuff, the junk, and looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing the eyes of God, the creation, seeing the eyes of authenticity, seeing the eyes of a person that has gone so far, and look, wow, I've had so many incarnations, and wow, look at me, I'm still going. That is the moment of transformation within the Scorpio, getting to that point in the higher octave. And all the obstructions, it is stepping outside of stagnancy and listening to the soul. That's the message. Get out of stagnancy. The stuck in the rut, doing the same thing again and again and again, and just plateauing, like slowly plateauing kind of thing. It is, and how we remedy that or get out of that kind of stagnancy is listening to the call of the soul and going where there is a sense of vitality or renewal. So don't go into the same old environment that leads to same old obstructions, or it is going towards the environment like the Venus, the Taurus Venus energy, where there's beauty, there's gardens, there is kids playing in the garden, and there's the mountains, the snowy mountain peaks, and there's the crystal clear lake, and there is this music playing, and it's just so soothing, and there's just the smell of roses. That is what's going to help Scorpio to get out of any sort of negative obstructions of their soul, or their distrust in their soul or spirit. Okay? And that's also going to remedy the stagnancy, because it's going to open the senses to life beyond just living status quo, like life opening, life experience. Go out there and experience things. Go out there and challenge yourself to be soulful. go out there and meet new people, because it's Scorpio. Meet new people, share your stories. Meet new people and listen to their stories. Again, it's about union of the soul. It's about a give and a take, a nice even give and take, about listening. It's about sharing, but not just listening and sharing in like big wall. No, Scorpio is about emergence with that person, like unconditional love, not you're here and I'm way over here. Okay. So I hope this video was helpful in any way towards anybody who has a North Node in Scorpio or South Node in Taurus, or vice versa. I feel like this could be very helpful. Or if you just have a strong Taurus energy in your astrological chart, or you have a strong Scorpio energy in your astrological chart. Remember, if you see Scorpio, just know Taurus is the other side of the same coin. So it's good to know. So if you have a lot of Taurus, just know there's Scorpio there too. You just may not see it, but it's there. Okay, it is a line of energy that is connected. They have this perfect line of energy that is connected. They're linked. They're a tag team. It's just if you have a lot of Taurus, the Scorpio is more so kind of, you could say, in the background, but it's still there. It's still something you can use to better help your Taurus energy. Or if you have a lot of Scorpio, the Taurus is going to be there and you could use it to help you to better refine your Scorpio energy. So I share a lot of astrology because astrology, I see it as a tool, as a map on how we can better navigate this planet Earth, and our experiences on planet Earth was a sense of fulfillment rather than I'm aimlessly just wandering around. No, it's like I am going to these experiences with a knowing in myself that this is going to help these particular areas within my being. And that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So we're not just here just randomly. We're here on a mission. And that mission is self and other. Relationship is creativity, being practical, intelligence, and sensuality. That's a greater mission. And how it all comes together is through just our vitality, our renewal of possibility, our moving forward, moving onward, breaking through, and creating our legacy of leadership. That's our overall mission. Not to be randomly here, just plopped and aimlessly wandering around. Okay? That's more, the astrology is a path for like a higher experience. Okay? And it's been used in the very ancient times, like it's very ancient. Because in the very ancient times, we were on a higher life experience. I'm talking about thousands of years. You know, we have cosmology, okay, and then the ancient Egyptians, okay, and it's very much connecting with the stars is like astrology, basically, mapping of the planetary cycles and the changes that are going to happen with the rise and the fall and the predictions. But astrology has been used for a higher life experience, has been used to help people recognize what they need to focus on. Okay, so when we have a focus as human beings, we tend to be more productive. If we don't have a focus, then we tend to be kind of just like confused for way too long than need be. So astrology, if you really want to study it, for example, like I have my Mars in Leo. So Mars is about my desire. So Leo is about basically kind of being in the spotlight, being very radiant. So my desire, I focus on that. Okay, how can I be more radiant, or how can I be more charismatic, or how can I be more fun-loving, and how can I be like the center stage? And therefore I put myself in opportunities that do that. Now, when something challenges you, if you have like your Mars in Leo, but you don't like to be around people, that's a challenge. And that's wonderful because it's a part of your evolutionary necessity. Okay? It's a challenge. Okay? And we're working with the 5 elements, and the astrological chart represents like the elements. Okay? And we're learning to balance and harmonize all of those elements so that we can be a clear representation of Mother Earth. Okay, we're part of Mother Earth, and we're part of trees, and trees are very much have the 5 elements. But when we don't have it fully integrated, or we're not fully like balanced of those 5 elements, we don't feel nourished. And when we don't feel nourished, we don't have energy. And when we don't have energy, we are in a lower state of function. And that lower state of function is like a tree that has disease. That tree looks very haggard. That tree looks very tired. That tree looks deadly, like, because it is. Okay, so with energy and with nourishment, we are able to keep ourselves out of that like icky, sticky swamp of that lower self or lower life experience. And we've known that. We've had the bubonic plague, I don't know if I pronounced it right, where we had just widespread disease. We have many, many plagues throughout history on planet Earth. And that's simply because the nourishment of that particular region and where that plague took place was not at its ultimal health. So what happened is, without the nourishment, people, they don't have the energy, and therefore they kind of just slowly, either through generation or the next generation, just degrade into this lower experience where it's very susceptible to disease. Okay, it's like if you're not strong, okay, if you don't know how to move the thing out, you may just kind of, you know, get that disease. So that's what we're doing on the planet right now. Okay, we're getting out of this degrading and we're getting into this upgrading. And astrology, I found, as a path to help us upgrade ourselves, to help us be able to focus on these areas within ourselves of improvement or challenge for improvement, so that we can get into that higher experience, so that we're not so icky, sticky in those things, the diseases and the neurosis and the arrhythmia kind of stuff, because it's there on the planet. But we're not here to just participate it furthermore. We are here to rock it out of that. Okay, we're not going to Mars. Okay, we're staying on planet Earth to work the stuff out here. And it's very important that people recognize that. We're here to work it out here, because if we don't work it out here, we don't learn the lesson of how to create a healthy, happy, holy planet. First we got to do it with ourselves, and then others, and then the ecosystem. We're not going to know. We're not going to be mature enough to do anything anywhere else. It's going to be like Star Wars kind of stuff, and that's not it. Okay, so thank you again, and namaste.